Welcome. So in this video, we're just going to be working through these questions here. It says evaluate, and the first one here is sine 3 pi on 2. Hopefully you'll just be able to look at this and recognize that the answer is going to be -1. But if you were struggling with it, you could draw for yourself a unit circle like this. You could say, hey, 3 pi on 2 is here, which means it's this point right here. The coordinate of that point is 0, -1. Sine means I'm looking at my y values, so it's going to be -1. That's the way you could visualize it, but hopefully you'll just be able to see sine 3 pi on 2 and just immediately say it's going to be -1. As we now come to our next one, we have cos of -5 pi on 6. Now, the important thing that you need to be able to do here is recognize that when you have cos of a negative angle, it's just going to be cos of 5 pi on 6. So cos of a negative angle, you just ignore the negative. That's really important here. Then once you've done that, you could then come and say, hey, my reference angle here is going to be pi on 6. Then if you weren't sure, some people are able to just look at the reference angle and say, hey, that means that my exact value is going to be the square root of 3 on 2. But if you weren't able to do that, you could draw for yourself your special triangle and go 2, 1, the square root of 3 here. And then you could say pi on 6 is up here, and then it's going to be adjacent hypotenuse square root of 3 on 2 to get that. Then the final part of this is recognizing that 5 pi on 6 is in your second quadrant, and in your second quadrant, cos is negative, so it's going to be negative the square root of 3 on 2. So that's how you would approach that. So again, some people will be able to do these really quickly simply because they've memorized all these exact values. And like 5 pi on 6, we immediately know it's in the second quadrant, and so on. So really work on becoming really efficient at doing these quickly. All right, next one. We have tan of -11 pi on 4. What we're going to do here is, again, realize that when we have tan of a negative angle, the negative comes out the front. So I'm going to get this. Now, once we're here, there's a couple of different ways we could approach this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break up 11 pi on 4 into 8 pi on 4 plus 3 pi on 4. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because I know that 8 pi on 4 is simply 2 pi, therefore it's just going right around the unit circle, so I can just ignore it and just deal with 3 pi on 4. I know that my reference angle this time is going to be pi on 4, and that means I'm going to have to use my different special triangle. Again, if you were comfortable, you could say, hey, I don't need to use my special triangle. I know that my exact value is going to be 1. But again, if you wanted to use your special triangle, you would have to do this. This is going to be 1, 1. This is going to be the square root of 2. Then this will be pi on 4. And then you'd go opposite adjacent for tan. So it's going to be 1 on 1, and that's how we're getting that 1 there. Then you'd have to say, which quadrant am I in here? Well, tan of 3 pi on 4. Well, 3 pi on 4 puts me in my second quadrant. And I know that in my second quadrant, tan is negative, so it's going to be negative here. And then I also have this negative out the front here as well. So what you have to realize here is that tan of 3 pi on 4 is -1, but I already have a negative here, so I've got a negative, and a negative, negative make a positive. So it's just going to be 1. Perfect. Last one here. We have cos of 99 pi. Let's do this one quickly. We know it's going to be cos of 98 pi plus pi. This just means I'm going around that unit circle again and again and again, because remember, when it is an even number and pi, it's just going around the unit circle that many times. So it's simply going to be cos of pi. I can just ignore this. And the cos of pi, again, if you're struggling with it, you could visualize it by looking at your unit circle. Pi is going to be here. This point right here is -1 and 0. And, oh, sorry. Yeah, -1 and 0. And I'm dealing with cos, and cos is my x value, so it's going to be -1. So my answer will be -1 for that one. Hopefully you found all this useful, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.